You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick, both inside and outside of the music business.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. My guest today, Gergo Borlai, is a world-renowned musician who is not only known for his drumming solos and clinics, but also for his groove and his work with other musicians. Today, I'm going to talk to Gergo about his start in music, how he made it through quarantine with just a keyboard and a laptop, and what he is up to today. So come along with me as I catch up with Gergo Borlai. Gergo, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Sarah, thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. It's so nice to see you.
Same here. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been almost 2 years, which is crazy.
Yep. It's crazy.
I know. I haven't seen many people in the past 2 years, though. So.
Yeah. All of us, actually, yeah.
Well, tell me on that note, how have things been for you over the past 2 years with quarantine and everything? You've been in Europe this whole time, right?
Yes, because I was supposed to tour with Hagan Backstage, legendary guitar player from Korea Electric Band, in March. Mm-hmm. And we are talking about the 6 weeks long tour in Europe, and they just canceled it because of the COVID showed up, so they canceled it 2 days before the tour starts.
Wow.
And so we stuck in Europe, in Barcelona, and the quarantine and the lockdown was very, very strict there. So we couldn't move out from our apartment for 2.5 months, and it was heavy. So our roof terrace saved our life because we could walk, as a daily routine, daily workout, just to move anyhow on the terrace. But it was heavy.
Yeah.
One day there's 100,000 tourists on the street, and then the next day no one, and it was really scary. Yeah. And it was hard to handle in the beginning, I guess for everyone. But the first shock was around 1 month, when I couldn't really realize what's going on. What is this? I was just watching Netflix all day, and I was trying not to think about what's going on, actually.
Right.
And then I started to write music a lot, but totally different music, because that time I absolutely wasn't able to go to my studio and practice or recording on my drums. So I started to write pop music, programmed pop music, and I didn't even think about drumming, because I know it's impossible to go to my spot, my lockdown, because there's lockdown. So, and it went actually well, because I wrote a song every day, sometimes 2 songs a day. So I wrote actually 2.5 albums material with this new type of music. New type from my side. Mm-hmm. So it's not even close, it's pop music. It's indie pop music with singers, and it will really soon, but it was deep, and those timing, those composing timing just really saved my mind. Otherwise, I don't know, so. The first time I could touch, that was a funny moment, actually. The first time I could touch my drums was 2.5 months later, March, April, May, and beginning of June or something like that, mid-June. And I was scared. I had not even a practice pad at home, nothing.
Wow, I was going to ask that question if you had any instruments at all.
Nothing. Only keyboard and laptop, nothing.
Right.
So I went to my studio, and I see my orange Gretsch drum kit, and I said, "Hey," and I was scared. Okay, what's going on? Because 2.5 months without playing, it never happened in my life. And so I sit down, played 3 minutes, and I realized, okay, nothing changed. Let's grab a coffee. And we went out for we took a coffee.
I love that. That's so great. And so I just find it so interesting that you were stuck in the apartment with a keyboard and laptop, and you found a way to create different kind of, a different kind of music than you usually do. It's phenomenal. Like you found an outlet, you found a way.
And it's never happened if this virus not shows up. That's the weird part. So, yeah.
Right. So I know it's hard to find the positive in everything that's happened, but there are those moments that it's like, oh, this unlocked a new potential, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And sorry.
No, that's okay. You play other instruments as well, which I love, and you compose music. What other I know you play bass as well. What else do you play?
Keyboards, piano. Mm-hmm. I have 11 bass guitars. I have more bass guitars than drum sets. And
there we go. Beautiful. And that's saying a lot, because I see your posts and I'm always like, ooh, that's a kid I haven't seen before.
Yeah. And keyboards, but I'm not a piano player. I'm more like a keyboard player, and I'm composing on keyboards, and I'm designing sounds a lot, even for others, not for myself. So I'm really into electronic music and software synth and all these things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I love that. And you have been getting out and playing. I see that you've been doing not only clinics but live shows lately in a bunch of different areas.
You mean this time?
Yes, now.
Yeah. I mean, since the late summer, August, I had some shows. Yeah, but everything was limited. Audience-wise, and that was okay. But I still smell the little sadness in the air because of the situation. So it's still not the same, to be honest.
It feels different.
It feels different, but such a good thing to play anyway. So it's just so good to share the stage with musicians again. But we'll see.
Yeah, and it looks like you're having fun too. It's like
I'm always having fun. I'm playing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's the best thing ever. That's the biggest gift on the planet.
I agree. And a couple of the clips that you posted, I loved the setting that you were in. I think you were at like a Heritage Day in Barcelona where people were dancing and dressed up, and and we were playing a shaker, and they were dancing, and I was just like, that looks like so much fun.
Oh yeah, it was Mataró, which is very close to Barcelona, just 40 minutes drive.
Okay.
And it was their national Mataró thing. It's their historical city thing.
Right.
And usually they are doing it on the streets, but because of the virus, as I told you, they limited the capacity of the people and the seats. So we played 2 shows on the stage, each show for 2,000 people or something like that.
Wow.
For 6 days. Instead of playing, all days on the street and, people can go anywhere. No. So it was very organized and very well directed. And it was a very colorful show with all their traditional figures and dancing and marching bands and everything. It was so good. It was a beautiful experience. Cool. And summer, the beach is only 2 minutes walk from there. So, it was just perfect.
I love that. I love it. I personally love Spain so much. Just, and I haven't spent enough time there, but I've spent some time in Madrid and Barcelona, and was fascinated. And when you posted the view from your new place, oh my gosh, so beautiful.
It is actually, we just moved there in the end of August after 12 years, because Barcelona is my European base. Officially, I'm living in LA, but since this virus, I cannot really go back, and still not that much happening there to get the reason to go back yet. I'm talking with the colleagues. A lot of famous cult club just closed forever, in LA, but everywhere. I've heard that in New York, the 55 bar in trouble,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
people are trying to save it. I know.
yeah. So we just moved to a new apartment after 12 years, and the view, the size of the terrace. It's, you can see everything in Barcelona. I mean, the whole city, it's 360 degrees, what you can see from there. It's incredible. It's priceless.
Amazing. Yeah.
It is.
I love it. Well, I'm so glad that you have that after, so much time being kind of stuck and in quarantine and not able to get to your drums. And, it's so nice to see you back playing. And you've been doing some gigs with, is it Gary Willis group that you've been playing with most recently?
Yeah. I played some gigs with Willis, and there's a very famous saxophone player from Catalonia called Libert Fortuny. He's a big guy there, and then he's a powerhouse, and he's a Berkeley guy, and he really into electronic music. So he has a one-man show with with laptop and loops and saxophone and everything and pedals, and we just made it as a duo now. So it's very it's minimalistic electronic. People can dance to it, and I love that. So that's the next project we'll do when I get back to Barcelona after I finish my things in Hungary on next week.
Absolutely. And recording too. You've been doing a lot of recording.
Actually, yeah, that's the thing what saved my butt. Especially after the quarantine when there was no gigs. So I could go to my studio because I have a studio here in my summer house. I have a studio in Barcelona. I have a studio in LA too. So, and it's all mic'd, it's just plug and play. So that was the first thing that I started to do very intensively after the quarantine in Barcelona. So, and I'm still doing a lot. So that really helps. And I love to do it. And fortunately, I have a lot of calls to record drums for others.
That's so good. I've heard that from so many drummers and musicians in general, that like the remote recording thing has been a savior over this time period.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm doing it since many years. So technically, I am much more high quality at the moment than before. So because I can make the focus.
That's amazing.
But that's the new normal. Poor studios, actually.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean, I feel like this has caused even drummers who just primarily tour to set up studios in their home and look into the video aspect and the audio and get everything tightened up, which is why a lot of companies that provide those pieces of equipment have done well, over the pandemic, which is great. It's good to see some of the music industry companies really thriving through this time.
Absolutely, and I think it's a very good thing to get this knowledge, recording drums in a good way, because it's not that easy how it looks like, You have to be in the picture with the tunings and the positioning of the microphone, the type of the microphone and everything, and it's just how you record it, how you mix it. If someone need a drum mix from you, and it's such a good thing. And unfortunately, we have time to work on this.
Right, exactly. Yes. Yeah. And it is, like you mentioned before, about like the benefit that came from that time. I think it's one theme that keeps coming up is this time to figure things out, to work on things. Even though it was a really hard thing to pivot for everybody. I mean, everyone we know, all of our people in this industry had their lives changed in a big way. For sure. One way or another. Nobody was immune to that. And I feel like that time allowed some things to happen that wouldn't have happened, like that music that you created, or the focus on recording and improving and all of those things. And what's coming out now, like the quality of things coming out now is just amazing.
Absolutely. And I just noticed that also all those companies who are making softwares, they also developed a lot in the last 1.5 years because of the virus. Just to give the people more opportunities and options to do all these things better, in the better quality, in the better level. Such a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. Yeah.
It's amazing. And another thing too, I just want to mention this, and I don't really
Yeah.
talk gear so much in these conversations just because, it's a different kind of a conversation with you all than I'm used to because it was much more about gear in the past. But another positive is you did come out with a signature snare drum.
Also, that's actually, it's an unbelievably incredible thing in my life. I mean, I'm from a small country, being in love with Gretsch drum since my age of 8, using Gretsch drum since my age of 20, and having a signature snare drum under my name. It's just unbelievable. It's unreal, actually, and I'm so happy with that. Thanks to Gretsch and thanks to Andrew and Paul Cooper. And it's just unbelievable. Seriously. I mean, seeing people when they tag me, hey, I just bought your new snare, and it's just freaking incredible. And, I always get goosebumps immediately. It's just, I mean, seeing my snare besides Winnie's or Kith,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so great. And it's a beautiful snare too. It's brass. And for anyone listening, it's a 4 1/4 by 14, right?
Yeah. It's a special. It's a unique gam, actually. Yeah.
Really cool. So anyone listening who's looking for a new drum, it's a beautiful one. So
it's a beautiful
check that
one
out for sure. And so congratulations on that. That's like,
thank you.
Silver lining right there. These things are happening. They're still happening.
Yep.
And that's great. And let's talk. You mentioned, being young and being a fan of Gretsch and everything. Let's talk about your start in drumming. And you were super young when you started drumming. I think I read that you were 3.
I was 3. I remember the moment. So my sound engineers, my parents, they were sound engineers, both. And they both worked on the Hungarian national radio station. And that time, we are talking about the early 80s, they had the chance, because of their workplace, to bring some West music to home, because we are talking about the last 10 years period of communism system, which, it's a kind of light dictatorism. So, the government was against the West culture, the West music and everything. But my parents had the possibility to bring West music to home. So, and I remember one time, my father just played the song called Take 5 from Dave Brubeck on cassette. Right. And there was a very poor drum set at home because my father had a hobby band. And I remember I was sitting there and I was listening that groove by the great Joe Morello, and I started to play immediately, but it's the poorest version of the groove. So this was the very first movement.
That's amazing. I love that you remember that. That's incredible.
And because of this, I've got a touch of jazz music, so I instantly became a nerd of jazz music. And all my days that time was about listening to music and eating music all day as much as possible. And we had no video, and there was no internet back in the days.
Right.
So my ears was everything. So headphone, cassettes, or vinyls, and just listening music like this. It was crazy.
I love that. And so when did you get kind of your first kit and you were able to start getting some of that out? Yeah.
So my mother took me to a good music school in Budapest, because that's school. It was a regular music school, but was a jazz school basically. I was 5 years old or something like that. So my brother, who's 12 years older than me, he's not a musician. He noticed that, okay, I'm serious with that. So he was selling he sold all his vinyls and bought a cheap but useful drum set. It was a no-name drum set. It was a Hungarian brand, says nothing to you, but that was everything for me that time.
Yeah.
It was a very, very, very simple kit. 20, 12, 13, 16 snare, 2 very cheap cymbals. I don't even remember the brand, but I could play on that. So I was practicing as much as possible until I get muscles at age of 10 or 11, and I became loud.
Yeah.
And the the neighbors, they couldn't handle it anymore. So I had to stop practicing at home on drum set, because we are talking about a regular apartment in the city. And that time I figured out, okay, but I have to play and I have to practice. So I started to practice on pillows, on my mother's pillows. She had a collection of old pillows from Transylvania. So it was perfect to practice. And I was practicing on pillows for years. And it gives me that single stroke and that super strong hands so early. So the next step was to get a practice kit with pads, because it wasn't that loud, but it wasn't drums. So I figured out, okay, it's so easy to play on, so I have to figure out something to make it more difficult and more challenging. So I set it up a practice kit in an extremely uncomfortable way. You know, the toms was like this far each other. The practice cymbals were in the sky. You know, so I had to play like this.
Wow.
To get more strength and more power. So when I could finally go to a rehearsal room, a couple of blocks from our apartment, it was so easy to play on drums after this couple of years.
That's amazing. And I you might know this already, but Dennis Chambers actually practiced on pillows too.
Of course.
It's funny because it's out of necessity. It's not like you did it specifically to like build up your muscles, but I also practiced on pillows as a kid, being in a house where there wasn't, a lot of time to practice when I was younger. And, so I would take the couch pillows and set them up like a kid and play on them. And then when I, talked to Dennis one day and he told me that story, I was like, that's incredible. So it's definitely a thing. Before there was low volume cymbals and silent stroke drum heads and all of that. That's what we did. We played on pillows.
Exactly.
And maybe that was a good thing, I guess.
I think it was very good because pillow has really no rebound. There's nothing. It's like a vacuum cleaner. So you have to build your muscles,
Yeah, right. And I think you succeeded with with getting the power because you play with such power, but not just power, accuracy. Your accuracy is amazing, and I wonder if setting up your pad kit in an uncomfortable way and challenging yourself kind of lent itself to that for your future.
I guess, maybe you were right.
Yeah, I love it. That's so interesting. So you got to the kit, you got to finally play again. And how old were you when you started like actually gigging and playing with other people and all of that?
Everything started when I was 12. I started to work in studios.
Wow.
But not as a drummer. It's more like as a programmer and as a drum programmer and a keyboard drummer. I recorded, I think, 30 or 40 albums as a keyboard drummer because I could imitate the acoustic drummer on keyboards quite good. And I started to play with the most renowned and the best musicians in Hungary at that time. And the good thing, they were all adult, so they didn't use me as a prodigy. A new prodigy is here. He can play fast and loud, and he's so cute, and he's just 12 years old. So just make a solo. No, it was all about making music. So that was my best school to play with those adult musicians, because I've learned, as much as I could at that time, about communication, connection, humility, uh, 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 the balance
Mm-hmm.
of the volume on the drums, the reaction, the volume balance, compare the other musicians, compare guitar amp, or the
Mm-hmm.
balance between a snare drum or a kick, or everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's hugely important. I think that when you do a lot of clinics and a lot of, people have seen like your solos and everything, which are just incredible. But then watching videos of you just grooving is amazing as well, and if that's incredible that you were taught that, how to work that out from such a young age. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people think my focus and my profile is basically about playing fast and loud. No, I mean, I'm fortunately I'm playing more than 500 albums, and 90% of them is about grooving. If we are talking
Hmm.
about pop or rock music, what I really love to play. But I have a good technical skill, so I have to use it because I have it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yes, right. I mean, the solos and the quickness and all of that are amazing, but it's the grooving that kind of like gets you the work, right?
yeah, exactly.
And what back then, what drummers were you looking up to, like, or looking toward as examples?
Okay, so after Joe Morello, I became in love with Hervey Mason,
Yes,
and then Billy Cobham just changed my life, as many drummers' life, of course,
absolutely.
forever. And then I became a huge, and I'm still a big fan of Frank Zappa.
Hmm.
So I instantly picked up Vinnie, Terry, and Chet Wackerman, and then of course the jazz guys: Jack DeJohnette, Al Foster, Paul
Hmm.
Motion, Tony Williams, of course, and all the. I cannot tell you any name you don't know.
No, that's so good though, because I can hear that for sure.
Yeah.
I love that. I do remember hearing Frank Zappa for the first time personally
Okay.
and thinking, what am I listening to? Like it was it was just such an amazing departure from anything that felt familiar to me.
Yeah.
And then, and discovering Vinny, of course, and,
Yeah.
just trying to figure Vinny out, which I still haven't, but, like it was just, yeah, I think back on that moment in my life in musical discovery is significant too.
Yeah. I love those two moments when Frank changed his music because of Terry Bozzio. And I love that moment when Frank changed his guitar playing because of Winnie.
Mm-hmm.
These are music history. It's just
Yeah.
historical moments. Incredible.
Yeah, and it kind of I think about musical leaders in that way. When you think about, there are really significant musicians who cater to the drummer's style,
Yeah.
and throughout history, and that's the music that I definitely gravitate toward.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank is definitely one of those for
Yeah.
sure. And I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
of a lot of modern day musicians as well who do that and are always playing with like the latest and greatest
Yeah.
drummers in
Absolutely.
particular. Um,
Absolutely.
so cool. So that's kind of like your established history. And I love, now you are not only doing recordings and playing live and all of that, but you're doing these clinics and you've been around the world as a clinician, which is just amazing. And I think like your fan base, I just am remembering back to any time we would post something when I was at Zildjian, and the 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 array of people who would comment. Like you have these fans in Japan, and you just have fans everywhere, which is incredible.
Well, still hard to handle.
Yeah.
Uh, I started to doing clinics quite late compared to the new generation. I got my first endorsement when I was 30. So, these days it's much more,
Yeah.
I mean, it's different. It's just different these days to get any kind of thing like that. So I started doing clinics when I was 31, a year after I've got my first endorsement, and I've learned a lot, during the years. What is the best way to do this? How can I make my own way? How can I be original? How can I have my own language to discuss with the people during my clinics? And I loved so much watching others who are super good with that, how they are doing that, because first of all, I don't want to be like them, and secondly, I've learned from them a lot because they're doing so well. And during the years, I really became a huge fan of clinics. I just loved the process, the traveling part, to see new faces, to talk. I very much love to talk with the audience during the clinics. These days, I mean, the last few years, I talking more. I need more questions. I need more interaction with the audience than before. So I don't want play it just because I can. I need them to understand the reason of music, the reason of drumming, and then the relationship between the drums and music. And I love to talk a lot about music, how important thinking through music, saying out something through the instrument. It's not just the drums. It's an instrument. It has melody. You can tell stories. You can tell poems. You can make people cry with this instrument. So it's not just not about speed and the volume. So yeah, I love clinics very much.
Yes, and you do such an amazing job at it. And I love that, you focus on the audience and their questions and everything, because I think that's really what it's all about. Anyone can go on YouTube and see you play, right? But like attending a clinic with you, being able to get that personal connection and for you to like demonstrate and explain things, it's so good. It's so
and
good.
And one conception is not maybe cover all the people, because there are always beginner or just a professional, and the professional guy is not that open for a beginner stuff, and the beginner cannot understand the high level stuff. So that's why I love people asking me, and to get the theme together, what we have to talking about.
Yeah, that's great too. I mean, I've seen a lot of clinics where it went over everyone's head, you know, and it was entertaining, but I'm not sure what was gained there. And so that's great. I love that you keep that in mind as well.
One time, it was maybe my third clinic ever in my life. It was in Perpignan, France, and it was a 3 days long drum camp, and the second day was for kids only. And I had no routine that time. My English was so bad, still bad, but that time was very bad. But I've got something. I have to solve this, because there's 300 kids, and there are 10 kids on the first row. They want to play on drums, on my drums, and they want to discuss about this. So I grabbed the kids one by one, take them behind my kit, and we just started to talk on playing on drums, even with hands, because they didn't speak English and I didn't speak French. So, and I just showed them something and they repeat it, and I saw the power and the fire in their eyes, made me cry. It was such a beautiful day, but you know what I'm saying. It was so good to see.
Absolutely.
You
I
know.
I love that. And by the way, your English is fantastic. So
Oh, come on, thank you.
don't think otherwise whatsoever. But yeah, that's amazing though. And kids connect in such a different way, and it's so like natural and organic. And
Oh yeah,
I love that you know found a way to really connect with them too.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and speaking of moments that made us cry, I have to bring up something.
Yeah.
We were together the last time we saw each other. We were together for the Zildjian Live filming. And I know you know what I'm going to say, but oh my goodness, Dennis Chambers closed out the show. You performed right before him, if I'm not
Nope.
forgetting. Were you
I
right?
was I was the first one. He was the last one.
Okay. Okay. That's right. So I don't know why I thought that. Maybe in rehearsal, I was thinking maybe you were
Maybe.
next to him. But
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, maybe.
so Dennis performed. We were all in the room. The room was packed. It was, you know, just like the end of a really long, really amazing day of music. But I think we're all kind of like emotionally drained anyway. But,
Exactly.
right? But we were packing the studio
Yeah.
space, and Dennis Chambers got up to play, and he was at the time not feeling great. You know, you could tell that he was struggling a little bit. This was 9 months or so before his liver transplant. So,
Yeah.
but we all, you know, we were all very, very worried about Dennis. He got up, he played amazing. He was Dennis, you know, and we were all in the room just like in awe. I think just standing there like, oh my gosh, we just witnessed this incredible moment.
Yep.
And afterward, he started talking on the mic, and the first thing he said, I think, was, you know, I'm still here, you know, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and then he called you up, and I just have to mention this because it was just such an amazing moment. Called you up and just thanked you, and kind of called you out as like the guy. And I just, oh my gosh, the moment I just remember tearing up and just being like, Sarah, don't, don't start falling right now. But I think everybody was like that in the room. Everyone was teary, right?
So can you imagine what I felt, you
I
know?
can't, yeah, that's why I bring it up because I'm just like, oh my gosh, this moment, it felt like, you know, Dennis, like I said, we were all really, really worried about him. And I think he was worried too. And it felt like a really kind of acknowledgement, you know, moment that he
Yeah.
needed to do. And it was incredible. I'll never forget that. I'm sure you won't either.
We have a history together. One time 15 years ago, maybe even more, he was playing in Budapest with Mike Stern, and we were the opening act to him, to Mike, with my band. And the organizer who organized the gig is my friend, and we had a very good hang in the backstage. So Dennis decided he wanted to watch me. So he put a chair to the stage behind the curtain, and he was watching my full show. So, you know, I was playing, and freaking Dennis was there. And I said, are you serious? Years later, in 2017 or 18, there was a Chicago drum camp. And there were 4 teachers. No, it was 2019. Yeah. 4 teachers: Dennis, Steve Smith, Chad Rackman, and myself.
Wow.
And it was for, I think, 5 days or 6 days. It was incredible. And first day, I just arrived, met with Dennis in the lobby, and we just noticed we are a drinking buddy because, you know, we both can drink and we love drinking, you know. So we grabbed the beer, started to talk instantly, and became friends. But it's easy to become friends with Dennis because he's such a nice person. But during the show, we had the jam together, we played together, we were hanging every night. And on the last night after the jam session, I asked Dennis, "Hey, Dennis, I just became a Zildjian endorser this year, this January, and I was playing for Zildjian for almost 15 years back in the days, and I never had a 22-inch brilliant Earthride. And since I'm an official Zildjian guy, I'm still looking that brilliant version of the 22-inch Earthride." And then he says, "I send you one." And I said, "No. I'm serious, Dennis. I'm still really looking for the brilliant. Can you tell to the Zildjian to make one for me?" So, no. I send you one. I said, "What? No, I send you one." So 1 week later, I was living in Hollywood that time. The post guy just came with the track, just honking twice, and said, "Gergo Borlai, yes, I'm here. This box is for you." And I opened it, and it was Dennis' personal 22-inch brilliant ride with some incredible words on the bottom.
I love that.
So this is Dennis Chambers.
Yeah, he is the best.
Yep.
He is. He's fantastic. And I just spoke with him a couple of days ago, and he's doing great. He said he feels better than he has in 18 years. So
yeah.
So happy about that.
Yeah, we are chatting quite often too, and he got back his voice.
Yes.
So good to hear that, the fat lower Dennis voice. So
yes.
And I just saw someone posted the video. He was rehearsing with someone, and he was on fire.
Yeah.
So like nothing changed.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, incredible. I'm so happy. I know you are too. We all just love him so much.
Yeah.
Good to see him back to Dennis.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. That's such a beautiful story.
It is.
And so, speaking of things that were clinics and performances and all of that stuff and things you have coming up, you have a couple of like big drum shows coming up. And I wasn't really sure, like the bag show. I wasn't sure if that was happening, and I did see that it's scheduled for October 31st. Is that right?
Exactly.
I think so. Okay.
Exactly. And this will be my third time on the Bach show.
So great.
A great lineup there, actually. It's a strong lineup there.
Yeah, and I think I saw Virgil Donati, Annika,
Damian Schmidt, Nicola Vicaro will be there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great. And Manu is hosting, or
Manu Kachi hosting the night.
It's gonna be so good. I'm very jealous. I wish I could get there.
I wish you were there. Yeah. So and then just 5 days later, no, exactly a week later, I'm going to the Tom Tom Drum Fest to Sevilla. And it's a special thing because this will be my second time there. And usually they are not repeat people there, but they cannot call drummers from the States at the moment.
Sure.
Really.
Yes.
So they called me because I'm here in Europe at the moment. So I'm truly honored I can be there. That show is very special because it's for a lot of audience. Last time I was playing there, I think a couple of thousand people was there.
Wow.
And they're recording it with multi-cameras. They're recording it with multi-tracks. They're mixing it all the time in a very, very good way. And it's just the vibe. Everything is just incredibly good and deep and personal and intimate. It's amazing show. Have you been there before?
I haven't been. I have to make it. I have to get
That's
there.
a good one. You have to.
Yes.
That's something.
I personally love the drum festivals. I did get over for Wiki Drummer Fest. In Paris a few years back. And they're so much fun. I'll be at the UK Drum Show in April for sure. Can't wait for that. But I really wish I could travel to Europe right now and see these ones coming up. The lineups are just amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And also I did see that you are playing with Kurt Covington at the end of November.
That was the plan. Was the plan. So the situation, I I'm doing a concert series in the Palace of Art in Budapest, in Hungary. It's a beautiful room for 500 seats, and there's a concert series under my name called Divided. It's not every year, but every 3 years or something like that. And this will be the Divided 3, which was supposed to be in April 2020, sold out in 2019 December, and it was postponed to June with a different lineup because of the virus, and then it postponed to September with a different lineup because of the virus, postponed to December, and the latest is this 30th of November. And the original plan was with Gary Willis, with Kirk Covington, Libert Fortuny, my keyboard player friend Daniel Sabini from Hungary, and myself. But Kirk just canceled it a week ago because he's scared.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't blame him whatsoever.
Me either.
Yeah, but well, you guys will have to do something. I know you go way back, right?
Oh yeah, I mean we recorded I think 9 years ago 4 or 5 hours material together with Gary Willis and Scott Kinsey, Kirk and myself in Catalonia in a studio.
Wow.
With tons of incredible music. And we also played sometimes together in studios in LA, recorded dual drums in some tunes in LA. And we just talking. We are very good. He's one of my biggest inspiration. He's in my top 5. He's a one of a kind guy.
He is wonderful. He's another multi-instrumentalist as well.
Yeah. Incredible singer, incredible piano, incredible. He's incredible.
He is. He really is.
So sadly he canceled it, but totally understandable. I mean, we are living in a different world now, so I had to agree that. I'm just sorry that. Because we'll be great to play together, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll have another chance to do something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure with that.
Absolutely.
Is PASIC will happen?
Yes. Actually, it's happening in person in Indianapolis in a few weeks. November 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. I had to think for a moment. I didn't want to get the dates wrong, but yes, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th in Indianapolis. So that'll be like in the States, that's really our first in-person, like, drum festival / trade show. Yeah,
I know. I've never been there, but I saw many incredible performances there on YouTube.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, if things open up next year, that would be really, really great to have you come out.
I will be truly honored.
Yes. I mean, it is so much fun. I always say, and I know I repeat myself on this, but it's like a drum industry family reunion, because NAMM is so big and it has so many different instrument companies and all of that. Yeah. This is like just the drum community, all those companies, all the people that and then add in drum festival performances and educational clinics and panel discussions, and I love it. It's so much fun. I'm a little bit excited if you can't tell.
I'm jealous. So now we are equal now. You cannot be here in Europe. I cannot be there.
I wish I could get over there for the events and you can come here soon enough. We'll be able to do that stuff again. There is a virtual option though. There is a virtual option. So if you want to check out the clinics and everything, it's pasic.org and you can check out the virtual option. You can see all the performances, and then there are actually going to be performances on the virtual side, including Kirk Covington, actually, for some artists who aren't able to come and play in person. So that's something to check out for sure. But
awesome. I will.
Soon we'll all be together again. I truly believe that. And
me too.
Me too. And I hope giving big hugs again, because I miss hugs.
Me too.
Right. So did I cover what you have coming up? Is there anything else that I'm missing and that I can maybe link in the description?
Well, Well, this year I still have some shows, big
Mhm.
shows, but mostly in Europe. I will release the first video clip of this pop material I just mentioned in the beginning of our conversation,
Yes.
and I won't be there. There will be just a singer, so it's not me. I'm just a composer, but I'm so
Mhm.
much looking forward to see that. We'll start to shoot on next Friday.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and the next big thing is the Frank Gambale tour, which is just postponed from
Mhm.
2022 instantly to 2022 March. So, but that's still on. So if that happened, then we are going to the road for 6 weeks around Europe, and then after that, my first thing will be to go back to LA.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that will be
Yeah,
nice. I
yeah.
mean, just to get back there after so long.
Don't tell me. My car is there. My drums are there.
Oh my gosh. We're just waiting for you. Everything's waiting for you.
Don't tell me. I hear them. I hear them.
That's incredible. I'm excited to hear the new music, the pop stuff.
You will.
So I
I
can't wait for
promise.
that.
Yeah.
I'll be excited. And we'll put some links so that so people can follow you and see what you're up to, and
Thank you.
also, yeah, to the upcoming festivals for sure, in case there's anyone who hasn't gotten tickets yet who wants to come out. Again, the lineups are incredible.
Oh yeah.
But before we go, I want to ask if there's any new music or new musicians that you're following at the moment that you can recommend listeners to check out.
Drummer. There's one drummer. I think he's very, very underrated. He was playing on Pasik, and this Pasik performance is one of my favorite from him. His name is Moritz Müller.
Okay.
And he's a very special drummer, incredible. He's really speaking through the instrument, and
Mhm.
people have to check him because he needs more feedback.
Okay, absolutely.
Moritz Müller. I'm very crazy with Louis Cole as a
Oh yeah.
as a drummer, as a singer, as a composer, and as a performer, as an individual
Mhm.
artist. And I just became a huge fan in the last couple of days with Saint Vincent.
Oh, sure. Yes, with
Yeah,
Mark
yeah,
Juliana, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
She's something different.
absolutely.
She's special. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about St. Vincent too. I love when there's like something new that comes out that, like, I don't know what it is, and maybe this is a weird way to describe it, but like activates a different part of your brain. Like
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
it makes you think about music in a little bit of a different way. I love that. And Mark's drumming in particular always does that for me. He's just so unique and makes me think about what's happening.
Oh yeah.
And feel it too, So
Oh
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I love those recommendations.
He's
And
special.
yeah, he is. He is special. And one other thing too, I just wanted to ask if you have any advice that you could give to someone who's like coming up and making their way in this industry, whether it be drums or on another instrument, trying to find their way, especially in this crazy time that we're living in right now.
Well, because we have a crazy time now, so everybody have a little more time.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend to being in a picture with the music history. Where are the things coming from? Not just being involved with the third copy of the original album.
Mm-hmm.
To find the roots from some particular musical moment in the history. So I really recommend to being in the picture and learn a bit about the music history. What was going on back in the days, and where is your favorite drummings coming from? Or
Yeah.
your favorite bass guitar, or the 25 years old guy, who was his idols, and why he's playing in that way, because maybe it's not his way, because he's just copying someone. So let's find the original guys.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. Go back a few more levels, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That's so good, Gergo. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you, Sarah. Thank
It
you
was
so much.
wonderful. Yeah, it's so great to see your face and get a chance to talk with you. And
Same here. Same here.
we will see each other again soon, I'm sure.
Me too. Me too. And you take care of yourself, okay?
You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.